Good morning. Happy New Year to all of you, and welcome back from what I hope was a terrific winter break with your families and friends and all kinds of holiday fun over the past couple of weeks. Well, I have a lot on my mind this morning as I begin my school year, a bit more than 4 months after all of you began yours. My hope today, above all else, is that you feel how excited I am to be with all of you this morning. I am thrilled to be back, and as far as I know, ready to go. For those who don't know, this is what I look like when I'm really thrilled. Take my word for it. It was not long after all of you departed for a well-deserved winter break and rest that my family and I began to settle back into our home here on campus, the only home we've known as a family. And the past couple of weeks of making our way around have brought to the surface all that I and we missed over the fall and early winter. So I do want to begin today underlining more than once how exciting it is to be with you. What an honor it is to speak to all of you with winter term teed up and ready to roll. For those of you who are new, you'll soon find that no boarding school anywhere on the planet has as much fun as we do during these 3 weeks in January. That is a promise. So ahead of diving into what I'd like to explore with you for a few minutes, I do want to start with some thank yous. First to Miss Freeman, who has so clearly done an incredible job as acting head of school, which is no small challenge, and has no doubt earned the admiration and respect of all of you again and again. The time I had at my disposal over the past 6 months would not have been possible had she not been willing to step in, and I am forever grateful that she did. Thank you, Ms. Freeman. I want to thank my colleagues and all of the school's employees in general for doing so much work well beyond their job descriptions in ways that help us deliver on our mission day after day and in so many different ways that feed the experiences we're all so privileged to have together. I missed not bearing witness to all of this good work over the last semester. It continues to be an honor to work with them. And as much as anything, I want to thank all of you, our students, for pouring yourselves into pursuits that matter to you, for caring so much about your school, in and out of the classroom, in ways that brightly illuminate the school's purpose every single day. There were lots of things that I missed while I was on the move over the past 6 months, but feeling the buzz and energy and passion of Brooks School life at its best was perhaps the piece I missed most, and all of you make that happen. I even missed the unveiling of the Ben Pettarelli portrait in Wilder Dining Hall. What an event that must have been, and an impressive piece of work. I'm also aware of the fact that I don't know all of you who are now just 1 semester into your Brooks School life, and you don't know me. And as a result of that, I've probably never been more vulnerable when it comes to handing out $5 in Brooks Bucks up and down Main Street. So give me a few days to get to the school's vault and find about $1 million, and then have at it. It'll be easy money for a little while. But I'm eager to know all of you, to catch up with others, and to make up for lost time. And then last but hardly least, if I understand things correctly, there's not a single cell phone in Ashburn Chapel this morning. That is a community triumph. You may have your own opinion on that, but from my perspective, that is a community triumph worth screaming from the mountaintops. So thank you for doing so well with that. What progress. Now, what to explore with all of you today? I have a few threads in mind. One, it feels appropriate to try to say a thing or two about the wonders of winter term. Two, it would make sense if I spent some time on what I've been up to over the past 6 months, or at least part of it. And three, I'd like to take a brief swing at tying integrity, the school value Ms. Freeman focused us on at the beginning of the year, to what we'll be up to over these next 3 weeks. As luck would have it, I think there's a way to connect the dots. For those who don't know, winter term began 13 years ago this month. And with the exception of not being able to run the program 4 years ago in the midst of the pandemic, we've run it every year since, with better and better versions as we go. Well, you might get a variation on the theme if asking someone who was here 13 years ago why we moved in this direction. My version would be this. We'd fairly recently reworked the school's mission to something I'm certain you all know by heart. At Brooks School, we seek to provide the most meaningful educational experience our students will have in their lives. That is our pursuit, our North Star, if you will. And as we began to get our hands around that notion, which has been implicit, I think, in so much of what a Brooks School education had been for generations, we found ourselves thinking about the vital importance of deep experiences when it comes to realizing meaning. You can't skip along the surface in life and find much meaning. You need to jump in, dive deeply, and seek immersive, sticky experiences that hold in your head, in your heart, for meaning to be realized. That's my view, anyways. Furthermore, when I'm occasionally asked about all of you, your lives here on campus, and the challenges you're facing, I often hear myself lamenting the speed and pace you're pushed to live at, not by anyone in particular, but by the world we live in that seems to speed up all the time and make it difficult to be present, to be immersed, to be in the moment. In certain respects, winter term seeks to be an antidote for the breakneck speed the world pushes you to reach. So my hope for your winter term experience is that you do slow down and you do sit in the experience you're having with a group of teachers and students you might not otherwise have a chance to know. Well, easier said than done, work hard to be really present. And I predict doing so will leave you feeling you've been through something meaningful 3 weeks from now. In many ways, the sabbatical I was so privileged to enjoy over the past 6 months was my own extended winter term. Well, I'm a lot older than you, and at a station in my life that affords me a perspective I certainly did not have 40 years ago. I don't think I'm any better than anyone else at figuring out how to slow down and be present and immersed in whatever's on my plate. It's been a lifelong challenge for me. When people asked me what I hoped to get out of this sabbatical before it started, I referenced having extended periods of time to think and explore and seek inspiration in people I'd never met before or places I'd never been before. A summer program allowed me to get to know a teacher from Uvalde, Texas, a school district recently ravaged by gun violence. And she was determined to find a way to continue delivering for her students in the wake of that tragedy, confronting the fact that 25% of her faculty had just been laid off 2 weeks before school started. But she kept going. At another summer program, I was in a cohort with a Nigerian man who was and probably still is under steady threat of imprisonment in his country for fighting on behalf of thousands who have had their land and homes unlawfully seized by the government. I drove with my wife Kim around Glacier National Park in Montana and watched the most magnificent sunrise you could ever see over the Montana plains. We had our car stopped in its tracks for I don't know how long in Yellowstone National Park because a herd, hundreds of bison, took over the road and surrounded us for a magical stretch of time. We watched 2 mother grizzly bears tend to their respective sets of cubs on the Montana-Wyoming border in ways that almost felt like they were staged for us. We hiked and hiked and hiked, at one point to more than 11,000 feet on the Idaho side of the Tetons, and were face to face with Grand Teton in a way I will never forget. We visited Bryce Canyon in Utah, and I don't think I'll ever be able to describe what it felt like to see the hoodoo rock formations in that park for the first time. From Observation Point in Zion National Park, we took in a view down a canyon that was made for a painting. We looked at the moon and the stars from the bottom of the Grand Canyon at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the night sky was filled with moon and starlight in ways that we had never experienced before and may never again. I could go on, and I sort of want to, but we have things to do. So let it suffice to say that it was the gift of time that opened the door to these experiences in ways that felt and feel very winter term-like to me, that opened the door to being present, to being immersed. Well, not 6 months. We have these 3 weeks at an entirely different speed, in an entirely different mode, and with opportunities to find inspiration from what you are doing, and most definitely from whom you are doing it with. So take advantage of the open doors awaiting you. Go through them and take it all in. You'll be glad you did. So what does integrity have to do with all of this, you may be wondering? I'd simply offer that less scripted time of the sort we intentionally pursue during winter term requires a higher level of integrity than experiences that are monitored and watched more closely. We watch ourselves a bit more than usual during winter term, and we depend on one another's integrity, being who we say we are, in order to have a collective experience we can celebrate together 2 weeks from Friday night. I've been told at times in the past that absence makes the heart grow fonder. That has certainly been true for me over the past 6 months when it comes to Brooks School. It is great to be back. It is great to be with you. Have a wonderful winter term. Thank you.